Hello, and thank you for taking the time to watch the TRU Indigenous Student Recruitment presentation. Thompson Rivers University is situated on the traditional and unceded territory of the Tk'emlúps te Secwépemc within the Greater Secwépemc Nation, and we give honor and respect to those who have used these lands since time immemorial. My name is Ashley McClellan, and I'll be guiding you through the presentation. Myself and my colleague Lily are Kamloops Student Recruiter Advisors with the Future Students Office, which means that we are a great first contact for students who want to start their studies at TRU. Your educational journey can be an exciting time filled with big life changes. So, in keeping with traditional teachings of interconnectedness, we've divided the student supports into 4 quadrants. For those of you who may not be as familiar with Thompson Rivers University, I'll just take a moment to explain that our main campus is located in Kamloops, the south-central interior of British Columbia. We also have another campus 3 hours north located in Williams Lake, the traditional and unceded territory of the Tahoe. Here's a shot of one of the main buildings on our Kamloops campus, appropriately named Old Main. The majority of our programs do run out of the Kamloops campus, such as the Actors Workshop Theater. It's also home to our varsity sports team, the Wolfpack. Our Williams Lake campus serves about 1,000 students annually, and they do have their own unique set of programs and services. So if you are interested in studying in Williams Lake, I recommend heading over to their website, tru.ca/williamslake. So just a bit more about Kamloops itself. It is a growing city of just over 90,000 residents. And we do have all of the amenities of a larger center, but located very close to nature. If you're interested in skiing, there is Harper Mountain about 20 minutes away and Sun Peaks about 45-minute drive away. Fun fact, we are also Canada's tournament capital. I actually moved to Kamloops just over a year ago and chose this community very purposefully. I decided to travel quite far away from my home community for my university years. I lived in Edmonton and Victoria. I grew up in Yellowknife, NWT, Acacia Territory. So while I was very thankful for my experiences, I did realize that I'm not happy in a major center, but I still want to live somewhere with a bit more of a mall. Kamloops is pretty much impossible to ignore for its educational and professional opportunities, and I'm very happy I've made it my home. As we mentioned at the beginning, the Tk'emlúps te Secwépemc are the local people of the region. Tk'emlúps, which is how Kamloops gets its name, means the meeting of 2 waters and speaks to how Kamloops is located at the confluence of the North and South Thompson rivers. We celebrate Indigenous culture in many ways at TRU, including a powwow that's put on every year, actually by our students. We do offer master's degrees as well as bachelor's and an array of certificates and diplomas at TRU. Basically many different educational paths you can choose to take depending on your goal, including an array of programs in the trades and industrial technology field to help you jumpstart your career. This is just a statistic I like to share because in the next 10 years, 78% of the next 900,000 new BC jobs will require some level of post-secondary education. So why wait? So once you find a program that interests you, how do you get in? Admissions will be based on one of 3 different processes. I'll start with the first one, non-competitive, which you can sometimes see referred to as open admissions. We're an open access institution because we believe everyone has the right to live up to their potential. So if you're looking at a program that has this process, you know that as long as you've graduated from grade 12 or meet mature student status, then you do have the opportunity to be admitted and upgrade alongside your first year classes. There won't be a deadline and no competitive averages considered. A limited admission program means that it is kind of first come, first serve, first applied, first qualified, first admitted. So they will give out the seats in the program until they have enough qualified applicants to run a session. Finally, if you're looking at a competitive admission program, then you know that you'll be competing against other applicants for one of the limited seats. You will have to meet program requirements and likely exceed them to be competitive, and we're always happy to talk to you about your options if you don't get in on the first round. Another reason to choose TRU is we do have competitive tuition rates. This is a breakdown of average first year costs in our Bachelor of Arts. So this is for the first 2 semesters. Our trade students can expect about $4,000 for that first academic year in tuition. I will also just mention that costs vary depending on your program and also if you choose to live on or off campus. So I'm just going to discuss a couple different ways you might be accessing financial support towards your studies. Starting with right here at TRU, we do have entrance scholarships and awards for our new to TRU students. So the application for these is open between December and March. I highly recommend heading over to tru.ca/awards and reading a little bit more about these because you could be eligible from anywhere between $1,000 and $30,000 to support your studies. There's also ongoing scholarships and awards. So for students who have completed at least one full-time semester, we give away over $1 million every year. Of course, there's external options as well. So if you believe you will be sponsored while attending university, please feel free to connect with your Kamloops student recruiter advisors, us, and we'd be really happy to chat a little bit about what this is going to look like here at TRU. Also, external scholarships and awards from the community, always a great option to check out. We have some housed on the website I mentioned earlier, the awards page. And again, if you want to connect with us, then we can get you further connected with the folks on campus who will support you in checking out external funding options throughout your studies. So thank you so much for listening to me. And I'm now going to hand things over to my colleague Lily, and she's going to share some more supports and information about being an Indigenous student at TRU. Masicho.
Thank you, Ashley. My name is Lily Peters, and I self identify as a First Nation member of Opaskwayak Cree Nation in Manitoba. What do you know about self identification? There are a lot of misconceptions about what it means to self identify as Indigenous in Canada, so we want to empower all students with knowledge to make educated choices and judgments. When you fill out your application form and identify as Indigenous, we can connect you with the right services and events of interest. Your information is confidential. Reasons students should self-identify include proper data and historical information. Not self-identifying leads to future generations not knowing truly how many of their people achieve great things. Current information on Indigenous students shapes opportunities for future generations. A space with more Indigenous students will attract more cultural leaders and teachers who want to have a part in your education. Affirmation and pride. Unless you are applying for equity admissions in one of a selection of programs, self-identification does not impact your admission decision. It does connect you with resources and events that may be of interest to you and let the Indigenous support staff know you're here so we can reach out. Friendships made in university can be long-lasting and life-changing. The hardest part is putting yourself out there. That's why we have Kaplukatin, where you can stop by anytime. There's a study space, a healthy snack program, and tons of support. We offer the LEAP program free to Indigenous students. You can go on a bus ride to Vancouver, Kelowna to go shopping, or see the cute goats at some of the local farms. Here's more on Kaplukatin. TRU offers a variety of services to help you take care of yourself. Our wellness center is a quiet space to hang out, read a book, play a game, have a cup of tea, or talk to a peer leader about your health and wellness. The Wellness Center is currently providing virtual health consultations on nutrition, mild stress, sexual health, wellness planning, sleep, and overall wellness. Early Alert connects students in difficulty to TRU resources and support services as early as possible. If a staff or faculty member notices that a student is in difficulty, they contact Early Alert. Early Alert offers optional, totally confidential support to students who need it. We also offer an Elders in Residence program. The importance of learning from our elders spans across First Nations, Métis, and Inuit culture. Our elders provide traditional consultation, conversation, and guidance. Indigenous students who require counseling services have the option to meet with Ashley Broadfoot, who is an Indigenous counselor at TRU. Ashley is a proud Indigenous woman with both First Nations and Métis heritage. She is a Canadian certified counselor with a B.Ed from University of Saskatchewan and an M.Ed in educational counseling from Thompson Rivers University. Although her general counseling focus is to provide support for students' personal, academic, and career growth, she practices with an Indigenous lens and draws primarily from multicultural, person centered, and solution focused therapy perspectives. She derives great pride from delivering professional services in a way that is firmly rooted in Indigenous culture. Other services that Indigenous students can access include our learning strategists who can help with transitioning to university, tutors in the house, library staff to help source materials for papers or projects, academic advisors are available to help with course selection and planning, and we even have an Indigenous student mentor program. TRU provides community and opportunities for Indigenous students on campus. The Coyote Project has united all of TRU in creating a campus that is welcoming and supportive to all, especially Indigenous students and staff. The 5-year project, funded by $1 million per year, is meant to accelerate indigenization in the TRU community. The Coyote Project is about implementing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action, particularly the elimination of educational and employment gaps between Indigenous and non Indigenous Canadians, and new Indigenous education legislation with the full consent and participation of Indigenous people. The Chinook Scholars Program works with Indigenous students engaged in full time business studies. The program provides a scholarship, expenses paid trips to 2 provincial gatherings, business cards, professional headshots, and more. Scholars complete activities with themes of achievement and contribution to the broader community. Knowledge Makers is an Indigenous student research network. Indigenous students learn how to research and how to publish research as Indigenous researchers. We bring together up to 15 Indigenous undergraduate students each year from across the university to learn how to make knowledge through a multimodal approach. All My Relations Research Center has been developed as a regional, national, international Indigenous family and community wellness research center. It exists to identify, research, and further advance and implement best practices in Indigenous family and community health and healing. Researchers hope that through a collaborative and respectful research, they can work with Indigenous peoples of the region and those of Turtle Island to reclaim, develop, and share traditional healing and wellness practices. Good work takes time, and at TRU, indigenizing initiatives are wide ranging and ongoing. The deep relationship between the Secwepemc people and the traditional lands on which TRU resides is commemorated on campus with a First Nations territorial marker. The Coyote sculpture created by artist John McEwen watches atop the House of Learning at TRU's campus in Kamloops, symbolizing our commitment to realizing potential. The sculpture faces towards the rising sun and is made from metal fashioned into stars. Esteel, Secwepemc's theme for stop, is stopping traffic on TRU's Kamloops campus, a public indicator that TRU is located in the heart of Secwepemc territory. Classes are offered once a year and give TRU faculty and staff an opportunity to learn the basics of Secwepemc. The annual Indigenous Awareness Week is a celebration full of events and activities. Past events have included morning smudge, drum making and beading workshop, traditional powwow, elders luncheon, bannock bake-off, and more. Secwepemc resources from the Secwepemc Cultural Education Society have been uploaded online as a collection of PDFs, videos, and sound recordings. The First Nations and Indigenous Affairs Committee of Senate has regular meetings to review Indigenous programs and services at TRU. The TRU Faculty Association has established a committee meant to inform the work of the Provincial Federation of Post-Secondary Educators Decolonization, Reconciliation, and Indigenization Committee. In response to TRC, law students spend time hearing from residential school survivors, touring an old residential school dormitory, and listening to a panel discussion focused on experiences of survivors and the effects of intergenerational trauma. The TRU School of Nursing is working to increase recruitment and retention of Indigenous students in nursing. Indigenization initiatives include cultural safety training, supports for Indigenous students, Indigenous pathways for health careers, and the Truth and Reconciliation Spirit Bearers. Orange Shirt Day is an annual event that recognizes the harm done by the residential school system. It's an opportunity for residential school survivors, local government members, Indigenous youth, students, faculty, and staff to come together in the spirit of reconciliation and hope for generations of children to come. No one's educational journey is a straight line, and no 2 paths are the same. We can help you get where you need to go. We are an open access university. We believe everyone has the right to seek their potential. So at TRU, access is open. We welcome students from our region and around the world to learn from and with one another. Once you've been accepted, you're going to want to figure out whether to live on or off campus. Living on campus is a great option because it gives you the options you don't get living off campus. You can walk to class, check out sporting events. It's easy to meet new friends. You get to know Kamloops a bit better if you've never visited. But best of all, you get to be right in the middle of the action for campus events. There are 3 residence options. East Village is an apartment-style residence with over 250 spaces, bridging the gap between on and off-campus living. North Tower is an 11-story residence home to 570 students and features some of the best views in the city. McGill Residence is a dorm-style residence on the south side of campus and houses 302 students in 4-bedroom quads. Cost and more information can be found at tru.ca/housing. Others prefer to live off campus, so here are a few common neighborhoods where students tend to live. It can be a little bit more budget friendly to live off campus with roommates. When I moved away from my community to go to university, I chose to live off campus because it gave me the opportunity to get out of my comfort zone and explore a new city and meet new people. Who here wants to travel someday? TRU study abroad is very popular. Students live and study in a different country for 1 or 2 semesters as part of study abroad. Study abroad includes field schools, exchanges, practicums, and co-ops abroad. Maddie, who now works at TRU, had gone to Australia for a semester when she was a student. Let's hear from her and others about their experience.
I always wanted to go to America, just growing up watching the movies.
I was always dependent on my family.
And I just felt kind of stuck in my shell and really wanted to escape.
It would be an opportunity to travel the world and see what is out there for me, so I went.
Have a whole new open understanding of what it's really like to be in a completely different culture and have to immerse yourself.
I think I brought back a new way of thinking.
Group of people that became as my family.
All my great friends.
I totally changed the way I view the world and the way I think critically as a person.
I really set in stone what I want to do with my future, and now I'm majoring in international business.
Finding a true place where I belong and finding my true passion, that was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, if I can make it there, I can make it here.
Columbus State University in Georgia, USA.
Tokyo, Japan, and Toyo Daigaku.
2 semesters in Australia and a semester in China.
Lismore, Australia. Don't think about it, just do it.
Wolfpack is TRU's official athletics team. The Wolfpack's competitive history goes back 50 years. As TRU grew as a university, so did the Pack. There are currently 9 Wolfpack teams that compete at the Youth Sports and Canada West University's Athletic Association level. We have men's basketball, men's volleyball, women's volleyball, men's soccer, women's soccer, swimming, baseball, and cheerleading. TRU students get free admission to Wolfpack home games, so get out and support the Pack. Sustainability matters at TRU, so much that it's one of our core values. TRU is currently the highest rated university worldwide in the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education's Global Sustainability Tracking Assessment and Rating System, or STARS. We're also the first university in Canada to earn the Platinum rating. In order to score the highest ranking worldwide, TRU has gone all in on initiatives like using more renewable energy and using less energy overall, diverting waste from landfill and using less materials overall, reducing and reusing water on campus, offering healthy food choices, and sourcing food locally and ethically. Students play a big role in our sustainability efforts. You can apply to become a sustainability ambassador and spearhead zero waste initiatives, educate folks on smarter consumption, and get rewarded with partial tuition vouchers, which is basically funds applied directly to your tuition. At TRU, we understand that the transition to university can be a stressful time. Our medicine wheel links you to TRU's support services and processes for Indigenous students. You can go to tru.ca/future and you'll see our Indigenous Students and Educators tab on the left. Thank you for taking the time to learn about what TRU has to offer Indigenous learners. If there's something that you want to know about TRU that we didn't cover, please get in touch with myself or Ashley. We aren't able to meet in person, so until we are, you can reach us by email at futureindigenous@tru.ca. Cooks Jetchum.